Hey guys, thought I'd do a quick toolbox tour today. Haven't done one in a while, so I thought I'd do it. Uh, so let's get into it. These are my toolboxes. I have a couple of them, so I'll show you. I'll turn around and show you the rest of them. But I have two Craftsman boxes, top and bottom, and then a Craftsman top box, and a U.S. General service card that I just close the lid and use as like a bottom box because it was cheap and well, it was cheap and it works. And I used to use it as a service card for a little while before I switched to the Craftsman plastic cart, which I take out to the site when I'm doing work. But yeah, most of it is pretty good stuff. Let's get into it. So in the top drawer, I got some Craftsman uh, deep offset box wrenches. Don't use those much. They work, but you know, you only need those when you need those, right? So I use those. Here's a pair of, here's a set of metric wrenches, snap-ons. Those are pretty good. Here's some gear wrench, X-beam type wrenches. I love these. I don't use them too much, but because they're, you know, I don't use them. But they are nice to hold on to. They're really, you can really pull on these things. I'll show you the ones that I use most of the time. Here's some extra snap-on stubbies that don't really belong in a set. It's a complete set, but I just gonna have them laying here. Here's these metric wrenches that come free with the old Craftsman sets. Most of these are made in USA. I have some Taiwan stuff. Next drawer is my gear wrench, large ratcheting wrenches. They go from 13/16 to 1 inch, and of course I have all the ones smaller than this in a separate set. And from 21 to 25 millimeters, so they live in that drawer. Box end wrenches, these are all Craftsman's. Go from 8 millimeter to 28 millimeter, and from quarter inch to 1 5/16. So, you know, these red organizers are the best for these big wrenches. You don't want to. You're not going to take all these out to the car or wherever the job site when you're working on them, right? So these big wrenches, these are the best way to organize them. Otherwise, they just have just piled up, you know, in two heaps basically. Well, that doesn't work for me anymore. So I got these, and they work pretty good. You can get these from Harbor Freight, or there's also, I think, there's another company that makes them on Amazon. It's US made. If I remember it, I'll bring it up later. Here's another set of miscellaneous. Here's some snap-ons, wrenches, metrics. Just the regular ones, not the flank drive. Weird pliers. You know, these ones are nice when you have a deep hole, and you just need to open the tip a little bit without moving your hand a lot. See. So these work really nicely. And then hose pullers and random stuff. This is an extra set of channel lock pliers that I got on sale Home Depot. This is all the combination stuff. These are 6-point. You know, I'm not a huge fan. I bought them just to have them to complete my set. But I'm not a huge fan of 6-point, and I'll tell you why. You know, especially when you're working on suspension work or in the engine bay, you just don't have the room to move the wrench that much to fit your wrench on a nut or bolt. Okay, there just isn't the room. I mean, if you got a rusty nut and bolt that's out in the open, then yeah, you can put that on and kind of lean on it because, you know, I think it's less likely to round than a 12-point. But for everyday use, 6-point is a pain in the ass. They look cool. They're very nice for taking out stuck bolts, but for everyday work, I've tried it. I can't use a 6-point. They suck. This set goes from 11/32, or maybe small. Actually, it goes smaller than that, but they're buried under these things. Well, let's move on. I'll talk about these two. This one goes from quarter inch all the way up to 1 inch. And the metric goes from 8 millimeter to 19 millimeter. Okay. These are some weird ones. These are old Mountain brand, but they also, you know, it's just ubiquitous Taiwan manufacturers. This is a Mountain, reversible, right? There's a little switch there. spline drive. So they're metric, but they're spline drive. So I bought 2 sets. I kind of got suckered, I guess, but they're spline drive, and so they can probably work for both standard and metric. Anyways, I bought them, and they work okay. I don't use them too much. Sometimes a wrench can be too long, and especially if it's flex head, that it can really get in the way. When you're trying to pull on it, they're really thin, and so they're a little twisty. So they're more for finesse work than actual heavy torquing. So I use them, but not all that much. Here's a plain Jane set of Craftsman 12 point blah blah blah. Right? We've all seen these, right? I have them standard metric on this Harbor Freight keyring style holder. Here's a set of old Craftsman 3/4 7/8. We'll have a whole set of them, right? Standard and metric line wrenches. I don't use those all that much, so they're just gonna heat in there. Alright, next drawer down. Gear wrenches. This is a good set. I've had these for 15 years. Use the hell out of them. This is my go-to set. I got a set of Snap-on. Where'd they go? I got a set of Snap-on wrenches somewhere. I don't right there. Ratcheting wrenches, right? But honestly, just out of sheer habit, I just go for the gear wrenches. I just muscle memory. I come here and I go for the gear wrenches. These are tough. These are old. These are tough. I've taken my brake caliper bolts off, suspension bolts off. I hit this thing with a hammer on the ratcheting wrench side, and it doesn't break. So I'm really satisfied with these old gear wrenches. These are reversible with a little offset. They make them without the offset, and they make them non-reversible. But I like these better. But hey, sometimes depending on what you're doing, if you got a real specific task, you don't need the offset. Then some people don't like the offset. Okay. Here's a drawer of random pliers. Mostly the channel logs. Here's an old Craftsman wire stripper. Here's a long pair of diagonal cutters that I got from Harbor Freight. I needed those actually to reach down to the radiator, in between the radiator and the firewall and the front grill to cut some things off. So I needed that specifically for a job. There's a Husky pair of lineman's pliers. These are for electricians really, but they're a nice heavy pair of pliers. You can use them for all kinds of stuff. Channel locks, needle nose. Here's a spark plug puller, boot puller, vice grips, Husky vice grips. These are not bad. I try to stick with the old vice grip, old US made Irwin vice grips, but sometimes at Christmas time you get these for $10, 3-pack. Good throwaway set. Not that I throw them away. I treat my sets pretty good, but sometimes if you're doing work, something really wet or greasy or nasty, you don't want to get your good pliers dirty or lost, right? You use those. Here's a large combination, 12-point open end. These are from 20 to 32, so it's like an add-on set. These are old V or VV, old Isco. These are old wrenches, and from 11 seconds. I guess I don't have a 1/4 inch on this one, all the way to 1 5/16. So big wrenches again on those red rails, right? So why can't I think of that brand on US made brand on Amazon that makes those things? I'll get it. This is old hammers, big stuff I don't use that often. Hammers, pry bars, big channel lock pliers, right? Big ones like whatever, 15 inch, 16 inch, whatever those things are. Large adjustable wrenches. Big stuff I don't use every day. Small pry bars, big pry bars. The adjustable wrenches all the way from 4 inch all the way up to like 15 inch. So keep these in here. Bottom drawer. Bottom drawer is just the welding rods, and I just dump all my gloves on there. My work gloves. Okay, on to the next toolbox. Top drawer, top shelf, I mean. It's a little bit of a mess, but you know what, let me get into this on a separate video, because there's a lot to go through on this one too, and I don't want you guys to get bored. So I'll do one toolbox and then I'll do the second toolbox. But I also have that toolbox over there, and then I got, well, behind all the weights, I got another one which doesn't have a whole lot of stuff in it. So I'll go through them in the next video. I'll see you later.